Hello and welcome to another edition of My Views with the News with me, Ian Pelham Turner, on ALB UK Television and positivebritain.co.uk. I have with me today Michel Spooner, and we're going to talk totally today about what is happening within the royal family, and especially what is happening about Harry and Meghan. So welcome, Michel.
Thank you, Ian, for having me as always. Thank you.
My first question is, I feel at the moment there's been aspects of racism. They keep on talking about Meghan being mixed race, the baby in mixed race. For me, what has that got to do with it, first of all? And can you sort of say, from the Caribbean and African black communities, how did they respond to when Meghan first came on the scene? Did they value her? And how do they feel now about, because of all the activity, let's call it that, that's been happening apparently against her? How do the black community in Britain feel about Meghan having to go to Canada to really get a new life?
Well, Ian, I think first when Meghan came on the scene, you know, when they were briefly dating and then they got married, the marriage was well received by the black community. Everybody was very excited. She's very popular in the black community in terms of, and it was a really good representation of the royal family and how things are changing, how Britain is a more inclusive society. So that's what they kind of represented, Harry, and it's of course Harry as the younger royal. People just wish him well and wanted him to get peace and love and happiness, which is what Meghan represented in his life. So at the beginning, it was really positive. The wedding in Windsor and all that stuff was really, really phenomenal and well received. And it's really disappointing now, I think. And I think lots of people I talk to about this issue, and it is being spoken about around the country, both all over the United Kingdom, in all sorts of communities, as to what's happened. It's not a good look for us as a country. We pride ourselves on being an inclusive. We know there's racism, Ian. We know there's pockets of the country that struggle with accepting people for who they are, and not for the content of their character, not the colour of their skin, as a famous person used to say once upon a time. And it's not something that is putting Britain on the map in a positive light, but of course the Queen had to take, and Prince Charles had to, do something about what's happened, how they feel. Something's gone wrong internally, and of course you will know better than me, Ian, whether that is how she was treated by the royal family, or whether it's the media. I'm talking about the tabloid media aspects, how they treated her. So you would know better than me. You've got much more better links than that. But I just feel it's a shame that she has to at least get this 1 year period away from United Kingdom in Canada. I'm hoping that she comes back after a year and they come back into the fold. I think certain words of apologies and certain things have to be done, but Britain, it has raised to the surface some aspects of racism that work in progress in Britain needs to be done about tackling racism.
I totally agree.
Yes.
I mean, for me, I think this is probably one of the worst bits of advice the Queen has been given. And for me, I've been talking to media right across the world on the subject, because there is huge interest right across the world. I think in some ways Britain today is being ridiculed because it almost goes back to 1948. It's as if the royal family haven't learnt the lessons of Edward VIII. They haven't learnt the lessons of Princess Diana, and it's happened all over again. And the reality is, as I was listening to Harry when he was doing his Centre Barley speech on Sunday night, he was saying, I did not want to take any money, but I still wanted to sort of do the work and Meghan wanted to do the work
Yeah.
to support the royal family, to support the charities, to support Britain.
Yeah.
What on earth was wrong with that?
Yeah, I think there was nothing. Look, Ian, I think it was perfectly reasonable. Remember, he's 6th in line from the throne, so he's not likely, he's unlikely to be king, and therefore it seems perfectly reasonable that he should be able to do a controlled set of royal duties that supports the royal family and this country. And he's got a number of charities. His environmental work, his work on mental health has been phenomenal, and I can't see why he couldn't have continued doing some of that. And Meghan will have her projects and issues that she's passionate about, and they should have knitted that together and then allowed them to do some commercial, charitable, individualized things that the Sussex wanted to do, and that could have worked really, really well. And long as there was good communication between both parties, it could have worked. But unfortunately, the royal family you're either all in, they call it the firm. Yes. You're either all into the royal family, or you're not all in. And I think that is a bit of a harsh model.
And don't you
Don't
you think these days that what is wrong with a modern members of the royal family having doing their own commercial activities as well? Because you look at Prince Charles, you look at the Duchy of Cornwall, you look at all the product range that he does.
Yes.
That's commercial.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
You look at sort of a lot of the other royals and what they've been up to in the past. There's a commercial attachment to it at the same time.
Right, yes.
Even the Queen. The Queen disappears to Balmoral for 2 months of the year, and in that time, Buckingham Palace probably makes something like about 800,000 visitors. It creates something like about 15 to 20 million pounds worth of income.
Yes,
that's
right.
commercial.
That's right.
So what is the difference in that and Harry and Meghan wanting to do their work, but also to have commercial work as well? Because I look at, my view is that I think the royal family need to grow up.
There needs to be
they need to grow up, and they need to have advisors on board. The problem with the royal family now is that Sir Christopher Guyot, who was the very mainstay mentor and administrator behind the royal family, when he lost his job, I think, that's the alleged occasion,
and
then all the other heads of departments seem to leave at the same time.
That's right.
And they've brought in new people. These new people have no understanding, I don't think, of the modern world. And I think for me, when I'm listening to what's going on at the moment, I think the Queen needs to listen to Britain and not to some really sort of staid people, staid views that really go back to the past century.
Yes, you're right. I mean, remember, the Queen herself is very popular, but the royal family as an entity, as a unit, is getting this split between public duties, the duties they have to do, and the kind of private commercial side, and they need to get that balance right. It's the majority of people in Britain have to work and have to do commercial activities to pay their rent, to pay their mortgages, to feed their children, and it's really, really important that parts of the royal family actually go through the process of having a job and going through that process, and actually the public will appreciate Harry and Meghan actually earning their keep. The public will appreciate people like Princess Anne's son, Peter Phillips, I think his name is.
That's right.
He's working and doing stuff in China, I gather.
Yes.
And so people appreciate that they are working, getting paid. I don't know what they get paid. I don't know how it works, but people appreciate that kind of connection with ordinary people. And I think Harry and Meghan represent that connection, that modern connection between the royal family and ordinary people. I hope in 12 months' time there is some, and there is a door there. The Queen left.
Get back out of jail card.
She gets out of jail, and you pass go and collect your £200 in the Monopoly board. I'm hoping that they can come back in. There's a new arrangement that emotions are settled and stuff.
Don't you think that is because the royal family think they're going to fail?
Well, it seems that they're setting them up to fail because of the finances, the cost of their protection, £7 million a year it possibly costs them to protect them and keep them safe. This issue about taxpayer versus non-tax, and also, of course, Prince Charles is controlling the purse strings because he's having to give them the money, and Daddy can say no at any time, and so they're not really free as they want to be, and so I think that there needs to be a balancing and a reconciling and a frankly building a lot more extension of love, and understanding. These are 30...
Show the values of Meghan and Harry. I mean, obviously, what do you think about this potential Disney and Netflix contract? Do you object to it? I mean, personally, I don't object to it.
No, I don't have a problem.
I don't. I mean, because these days, the reality is, for me, is that we are global communicators. We should be proud of our royal family. We should be proud of Harry and Meghan, the stance that they have taken. And we should be proud of the fact that they could be great ambassadors for us in America and Canada. What do you think will happen to them in Canada and America?
Well, I think they're certainly going to be well received in Canada. Of course, Canada is a Commonwealth country and very closely connected to Britain, and there's a lot of love between Canada and Britain. So I think they're in a good country and a good place there, and I think, and clearly Meghan is happier in that country. But look, the commercial stuff, and she is a actress informally, and she's got a little bit of stardust quality. They should stick to things that they know, do things that they have passion about. We would say at Positive Britain, if you're an entrepreneur, then you should do things that you know about, speak about things that you have expertise in, and they should focus on the things. So I'm expecting them to do things that are within their range of expertise and interests and passion, and I know they'll make a significant amount of income. I hope that income is enough to balance their various costs, because I understand they've got to pay rent on their Frogmore Cottage and all these other things. So I hope it's a successful year for them. But I do still think, even if it is a successful year, I still think that the sensible thing for them to do is negotiate a way back in so that they can use the Sussex Royal brand, because at the moment I know that's going to be difficult for them to use, and that's a real shame. And I think this has been poorly handled by the royal family.
Absolutely, I totally agree. So finally, what would you feel the black community would like to see? Because I think they have a voice. Obviously, one newspaper ran another paparazzi picture this week in Canada of Meghan and Archie. What do you think, finally, just very succinctly, what would the black community in Britain use their voice for to actually support Harry and Meghan?
Well, I hope, the black community across, and the word black community is quite complex because they range from a whole range of views about Meghan, but I suspect that they are in full support. They are disappointed with. Once again, I mean, we know there's racism, but we just don't like seeing it. We don't like being reminded of it. We get enough of it on football grounds every Saturday, and we get enough of it in various places in the corporate world. And the black community would like to think that the royal family is modernised, because we know if the royal family accepts people of colour, i.e. Meghan, then that will potentially trickle down and percolate around society and maybe influence our government and influence our various institutions, that they need to be more accepting of people of colour.
Michael, thank you so much for your thoughts today. It's very,
thank you, Ian. Thank you for having me on Positive Britain. Thank you.
So, as you can see, I am a royalist. I'm a royal commentator. I talk across the world on these things, but I'm ashamed at the moment of what is going on within our British royal family. I feel right now that Harry and Meghan have been pushed out. Okay, they wanted to do their own things, they wanted to do it in their own way. But so what? We are in 2020 now, not 1920. And I think the values of the royal family at the moment have been blemished, to say the least. And my feeling is that the Queen was given very bad advice. I don't know who advised her on this, but I hope that over the course of the next year, they will find a positive way forward, as we hope on positivebritain.co.uk and ALB UK Television. So for me, Ian Pelham-Turner, and for Michel Spooner on ALB UK Television, my views with the news. Thank you for watching and have a great day.
Thank you.